Hi, happy Monday. Heather here, back again for Create a Lifetime of Happiness, where I am going over how to live in a mindset of positivity and love. This is video number 10 of that 30 video series, and I'm so excited to be back on a Monday. I'm rejuvenated after the weekend. I hope you guys are too. Comment if you are joining me. Say hello. If you're watching the replay, please say hello. Comment below. Feel free to comment throughout. If you have any questions, I will definitely get back to you. And usually I'm good about a couple of hour response time. So if you have any questions for me throughout, please feel free to comment. I'd be happy to chat with you. I always start this off with a quote. And so today I pulled from a self-love oracle card deck, and here is the quote. Everyone has the ability to create a life of joy. It is your birthright to manifest your desires and the life you wish to experience. Sorry, I want to say that again. Everyone has the ability to create a life of joy. It is your birthright to manifest your desires and the life you wish to experience. I love this. Yes, 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 a million times. It is our birthright to manifest what we want, go into action, create the life that we want. This goes along so well with what I've been discussing with you guys. We are the co-creator of our life. We are part of the design. We help make the plans. So definitely be proactive in that. If you want to be experiencing this life of joy, of being around others, creating a community, being a good family person, you create that. You manifest that. And that's so important because so often we leave it, yes, faith is important, and I am huge on faith and believe the spiritual world around us definitely guides us and there's a path laid out before us. But also it's a lot of our actions of what we're doing day in and day out that help create that. And what we choose to do can change our path. So it's really important to take charge of our own design. So I really, really love that quote, because if we want to be creating these experiences for ourselves, we need to get out there and do it. For me, like, one thing that's always been important to me is I love learning from people. I love meeting new people, hearing their stories, listening to their journey. And so to manifest that and to make sure I'm having that weekly or monthly in my life, I make sure to create those experiences for myself. I put myself in situations where I'm going to meet new people, where they're going to open up to me, so that I can learn from them. Because for me, like, learning from other people is like the biggest way to grow and transform and think outside of ourselves. So I really love that reminder today. Today, in Create a Lifetime of Happiness, I'm going over knowing your truth without having to be right. I love this one. This is a paradigm I use in my coaching practice a lot, and I practice this myself as well. Knowing our truth without having to be right. So that's just knowing what we love, what is important to us, without bringing that judgment of that fight response, like, you must listen to everything I think and believe it too. Sometimes we get really defensive when it comes to our journeys and what matters most to us and how we think. And if somebody doesn't agree with us or understand that way of thinking, that's where it's like, what? How could you not think that way? What is wrong with you? Like, bringing that sort of judgment into it. So knowing your truth without having to be right, like, without bringing that judgment, bringing that curiosity only. And I want to share with you how you know your truth and ways you can approach it with more curiosity. My dog wanted to say hello. So if anybody you know could resonate with this message, please share this video with them as well. I'd love them to listen to it and see what they think as well. So what is knowing your truth? This is simply knowing, trusting that gut feeling, trusting your thoughts, of knowing what is right for you. See, there's Copper. That's my friendly dog back there. He's always with me. He's a sweet boy. So knowing your truth is knowing what is right for you. And a good example of this is like when we get married or when we have children. Everybody comes out of the woodworks all of a sudden, like they have an opinion on how we should do it, what we need to be doing. Do this, hire this person, do this. This is how you need to raise your children. This is what you need to feed them. This is what you need to teach them. If you're not doing this, you're wrong. Like everybody has an advice to give you, and it can be overwhelming. It floods you, right? So that is what I mean. Like, you know what is best for you. You know what's right for your relationship. You know what's right for your children. You have that innate wisdom to know your truth, to know what's best for you and what's right for you so that you can move forward. And sometimes we don't always get it right, but we knew that that was the best decision for us at that time. And knowing that and being okay with that without worrying about what others are thinking or how they might react or what they want us to be doing instead. So that is what knowing your truth means. And why is this important? Because knowing our truth and listening to that intuition, our inner gut that exists, that is going to lead us to creating a life of joy, creating a life of happiness, surrounding ourselves with love, being connected to other people. So it's really important to know your truth and not shun that part. Like when you get, okay, my body's trying to communicate something to me, instead of pushing that down and like shoving it away, really embracing it and accepting it. And the second part of that is removing the judgment. So knowing our truth without having to be right. So that's that second part, without having to be right. That removes that judgment, the hate, the fear, the need, the want to control everything around us and how others might respond to us. That is really, once we can remove those, that inner acceptance of ourselves and that inner peace really blossoms. So how do we do this? How do we know our truth without having to be right? So I have a couple of tips for you guys. The first one is simply listening to that voice, listening to your heart. Let that be the thing that leads you. And not that nagging fear of that constant loop that we can play, like all the what ifs, but that feeling like, okay, I know that I need to go down this eventually. I know I need to go join this church, or I know I need to go join this meditation center. There's something calling me to that. Or I know that my child just needs me right now to sit with them. And I know some people might not think this is right because they've been crying, but this is what feels right to me. So knowing that and listening to that voice within, listening to what your body is telling you, because our body is really, really good about communicating what it needs. And if we don't listen, it's going to sit there and knock, 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 and get louder and louder and louder with different messages until we can decode it. So really listening to ourselves and moving forward from that place instead of pushing it away. The second one is walking away from debates with gratitude. So if you're sharing your experience, you're sharing your journey, what works for you, what you're into, like maybe it's a new book that's really inspirational to you. Maybe it's a new practice in the morning where you're walking and somebody's like, well, you should really be running instead to get the cardio, and like giving you all this advice. So instead of just like going into it with defensiveness and like, well, no, this is what works for me. Like I've done this research, blah, 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 blah. Just thank that person for their insight. Say, thank you. That's really good insight. Like, I'm going to have to consider that. And maybe you consider it and like, okay, yeah, I considered it. I'm good. Like, this doesn't work for me. This still does. Or maybe you ponder it a little bit and like, they really did have a good point. So maybe I can try it out and see if I like it. I don't have to do it forever. So just really avoiding those debates by showing appreciation instead, showing gratitude for that person, because really the other person is wanting to help us anyways. It's not coming from a place of like hate or resentment or judgment. They're just really wanting to help us and eager to be on that journey with us. And the third thing to help you know your truth without having to be right is if you do feel the need to argue or justify why you think the way you do, why you do the things that you're doing in your life, how you're handling things in your life, your career, your relationships, your finances, your health, whatever it is, If you're feeling like you need to justify it and defend it, ask yourself, what is it I really need in this moment? What is it that's really important to me that I am needing in this moment? By pausing and asking ourselves that, we can get through the fear, get through like that anxiety and any of those like anger feelings that might come up when we feel like we're being attacked, to understand what it is we are truly needing in that moment. Maybe it's understanding, maybe it's encouragement, maybe we're just needing a little bit of relaxation. So when we notice that we're getting that defensive, like, oh, it's starting to rise, you can pause and like, okay, what is it that I need in this moment right now? And that's going to help open your heart and ask for what you need. Like we've talked about that earlier, I think it was last week, like having the courage to ask for what you need, right? So when you can ask yourself that, it opens your world. You're being able to create your own experience, design what you're wanting to design for yourself. So thank you for joining. That was Create a Lifetime of Happiness by knowing your truth without having to be right. Comment below, let me know, like, what was your favorite tip? What do you think that you could use moving forward so that you can get more connected to your truth and remove that judgment? If you know anybody that could benefit from this, please share this video. If you want to connect further, I'm happy to talk. Just message me. I hope you guys have a happy Monday, and tomorrow I will be back with decluttering. Thank you much. Have a great day.